Good morning, Ella. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good to have you in here talking to you
No.
today. This is not something you normally do.
No, it's not. Oh,
Okay, well, thank you for this interview. Ella, how long have you been a member at Grant?
As a child, my mom and my great aunt used to bring me, but I actually joined in 1972. I was 11 years old, and me and 6 of my siblings and 2 cousins, we came and we joined Grant Chapel.
Okay, so it was your mother and your aunt became the members.
This is our family church, my mom's family church.
Well, you already answered the second question.
Yeah.
Okay, and so how long have you served as the secretary?
Off and on for the past 15 years with secretaries, or there are different components. You have the board secretary, which I served as that. We have the quarterly conference secretary. I've served as that. I did the announcing clerk. I did that, and I used to do, when I was the announcing clerk, I would do some of the programs for on Sundays. And since Reverend Kelly's been here, I've been his administrative assistant. So that in that role, I take over doing the finances. I'm on the finance committee. I also do his personal deals. His wife has been a very good help. She's doing the program since she's been here. But I will resume that activity once they leave.
So now you say you was a program announcer. Did you ever help to compile information for the programs?
Yes, I did. Matter of fact, before, you would call, the pastor would give you the song, he would give you the scripture. You would have to call people to see if they wanted to do the call to worship, or you would have them find out what songs they're singing. Sometimes we put the song, sometimes we don't. And those that doing the prayer, you would
So
call
that was
to
basically the
see.
history of the church. You was really helping to record the history of the members that attend the church.
Well, in a sense, I guess you can say that. Yeah, I did.
One of the other questions I want to ask you: do you have an archival collection of the church history and other materials?
We used to have it here at the church, and like we was talking earlier, sometimes they go through clean out stuff, and we don't have it. But I do have members that can go back for 50 years that have programs, obituaries, or any kind of history of the church, like Miss Helen Lucky or Miss Grace Walker Perry. You can go to them and get whatever you needed. Before she passed, Wanda Dyson used to keep a lot of stuff. And you can ask them, and they'll bring it and let you know. So when we do the history of Grant Chapel, you could list the past preachers, or list the past stewards. We used to do real detailed information in that.
Ella, how did you come about collecting pictures for the church anniversary booklets?
That was a collaboration with Madeline Walker Collins and myself. We had asked, we did a collage one year, and Esco had pictures, Miss Helen Lucky had pictures, Miss Walker had pictures, and Madeline had pictures herself. And we took and we asked the members if they wanted their loved one that has passed on to be on that collage, and they donated pictures to us, and that way we did that. And that program, you could see the tears in their eyes when they saw it, because it was a beautiful thing. And the following year, I had to add Madeline to that. So
that was emotional for her mom to see that.
Yeah.
Do you think that now that Grant Chapel AME Church is is preserving the history, do you think that preserving these anniversary books and other information would be helpful to anyone that want to come and tour the church?
It would, and it also would help our future generation of people that come in, so they would know their history as well. But yeah, they could learn that it's a community church. We had members that was in the Hines Quarter, Reeves Quarter area, Bennett Road, and all those members were very active in the church, and they would give our youth the opportunity to learn what they have done over the years, and hopefully they'll carry on that tradition.
Do you think that a lot of the churches are losing a lot of their history?
Yes.
And why do you think that is?
Um, when you know your grandparents, they when they die off, the next generation they don't take it as serious, or they didn't think it was that important to keep. And since we've been doing this, I realize how important it is. So hopefully with this, what you're helping us to do, that they will learn that history is important, and not be erased. Like society want them to erase their history, they need to embrace and find out what actually has happened, what will happen, and build upon that.
I also know church members like Miss Walker, Miss Augustine Cryer,
Yes.
and Miss Lucky.
Mm-hmm.
They're probably the only ones that can go back probably to the 50s
Yeah.
with the history here.
Right. Or before, you know, because some there, I think Miss Lucky's father, dad was a minister here. Miss Cryer was basically here for so many length of years before I even came. So I'm quite sure they can. And she used to find history. Miss Cryer did. So yeah, they those are our pillars.
I just interviewed Esco Hornsby, and he had over 18 tapes of just different events that he was recording. That is
Mm-hmm.
a jewel.
It is. He used to record and take pictures of everything, every program we had back in the early 2000s, and just you know, just history in the making. And you didn't realize at that time how important that is. And when he mentioned about the Boy Scouts, both of my boys were in the Boy Scouts, and we used to travel and go different places. And I didn't realize he still had that. You know, I would love to see what my boys were doing in the Boy Scouts or different programs. And I know he mentioned something about the roads. We used to travel all over. We were in it was called what was it? It was different churches used to get together, and each choir used to go and sing and all. And he had pictures of those. And I remember when we raised money to buy our robes, you know. So I had forgotten some of that stuff, you know.
Can you recall the time that they recorded that album, the Louisiana Conference Choir?
Yes, that's what it was. We were part of the conference choir. We used to just travel all over. Now, I was not a member of that conference choir, but I do know, I want to say Karen Sanders Jackson.
Because it
She
was recorded
was.
right here.
Yeah, I think she was. And you know what? I may have been. I don't know. It's been so long ago. And that's what I'm saying. You forget about the things you did. But yeah, we used to travel all over and do different. In Harlan, Victor was our choir director. And when I tell you he made you sing, and you know, he was the one that took us here and took us there, and he just showed us the importance of voicing, you know. So
One of the first things that people ask for when they attend the anniversary church, I want a booklet.
they want a
That's
booklet.
the main thing.
They want a booklet. They want something that they could see and go back through and look at. And you see me, I keep notes on everything. I just write notes. I like to write what the pastor is going to preach about, and I'll put it on there and go back and you know do a little fib.
So, do you all have a filing system that you use?
I used to, like I said, some people come in and have rearranged, but I am going to get back to having. So this is the one we had for our Juneteenth. That is our history.
That was 100
that was
years
back
there, huh?
in August of 1986. That was our 100 year, right?
And so now you all are looking at 139 years.
139 years, right?
Is that
This
the
one
one you
was
and
done
Madeline put
back in
together?
1981.
81.
No, actually, the one she and I put together was, I think it was
The
like in
blue, the one that,
2000. That was a
yes.
booklet, and it
Hmm.
had, and I thought I had my copy, but it had a collage of all the members that was had passed on and that had contributed to the church, and we asked each member to give us a family photo if they wanted their members in it. And this was the last one we did in 2004. I don't think the pictures are in this one,
Hmm.
but it
Oh, I
shows
see the
the
cornerstone.
calendar, yeah,
Yes.
the difference in our history here. And this is,
Oh,
oh,
that's the
there it
one.
is.
Yes.
Yeah, that
Uh
awesome.
huh.
This is the one that I
You and
think this
Madeline
was the
walked.
last one
Hmm.
because I had to add her in
Oh,
there. So
yes.
this was the one in 2004, and we have other pictures that
Now I
in
understand
here.
that you all burnt the church burned at what? Did y'all lose some records?
We did. That was the old church that we had. We used to have an older church that used to sit further over this way, and it had a parsonage that sat over this way, and that church burned, and that's when they built this one. Worked on building this one.
This is awesome.
Hmm.
Would you highly suggest that other churches start keeping their photographs and all of their bulletins?
Yes, it is, because when you go back and you look at it and you say, "Oh my gosh!" and I was like, I was looking through some old minutes, and you see your name in writing, and you go, "Oh my God, that was 20 something years ago, and I did that." So yes, and then you see pictures when you, if you're working as a missionary or a trustee or a steward, and they take pictures of you, and you can go back and look. Because even when I was looking for my programs, I saw some pictures that were taken years ago when Reverend Hurst was here, of the trustee, because I worked as a trustee at the time, and you see the people that have been here or have
And
passed
gone,
on.
yes,
Yeah, so
yes.
those are memories. So I would suggest every church to keep an archive of all your history, because
When people are doing that genealogy research, one of the first places we like to look is at the church
at the church, right?
for
And you
marriage
go in and
records,
right,
funeral programs,
yes,
all that.
right. But at one point, the preachers used to keep all that. The minister of the church, they used to keep the marriage license, or they would keep different programs or different things like that. They would keep copies of it, and you could go back to them and ask them for that. Those were good days, old days. They don't do that too much anymore. So, but yeah, I would suggest that.